A rut, a burnout, a snag, whatever it might be, could actually be an amazing opportunity if you know how to perform the right introspection. All right, so welcome to Mindset Redo. If you're new around here, welcome. Over here, I share a few unique insights and ideas through my perspective that work for me and might work for you. You can use directly in your own life to break through mental roadblocks. Also, for more ideas that help you develop into a more independent creative thinker, sign up for my free mailing list in the first link below. In that mailing list, I share updates on new videos, special offers, additional content, and a place for you to chat with me one-on-one. Okay, so today I'm gonna be doing something special for you guys here. I'm creating a mini series on how to unmask hidden insecurities that keep you in a cycle that leads you back to being in the rut. All right, so step one. The first thing you're gonna have to do, you're gonna have to accept the concept of fate. This will be easy for you if you are religious, but if you're not, you're gonna have to learn to accept that there is in fact some truth to the concept of fate. Okay, so these videos are actually gonna take a huge existential turn on how to deal with burnout, but you just bear with me, okay? Overcoming this starts with surrendering to the fact that you actually have no control over what happens in your life. And if that line right there wasn't enough to get you to click out, you know what? We're gonna take a little break here. You're gonna give yourself a pat on the back, because if you're still here right now, you're probably self-aware enough to know that there's more to it than just that. And that's because you want to make a change, and that is massive. I went crazy while learning how to accept this. So you can only imagine how long it took me to actually come to terms with this fact. But you know what? As I learned more, I realized it ain't so bad. So despite all the tough love that's gonna come from this series of these videos, know what comes from a place of love as we're all dealing with overcoming our fate every single day. Now, it doesn't matter what you believe, okay? Before you watch this video, you're gonna have to put your beliefs and biases at the door. They're not welcome here. Combine what you learn here with what you already know and believe to create something incredibly powerful within yourself. Okay, so understand you as a human basically have two parts to you. Your animal part, which is your compulsions, and your other part that has the ability to observe whatever actions that you're taking right now, which is also called self-awareness. Other living things like rabbits only have strictly evolved their compulsions to match with their environment. They don't have the awareness to know what they're doing. I think we went over this in my ego video or something like that. We, on the other hand, have both the animal part that tunes to our environment for our best chance of survival, and the observational part. The observational part is what makes us human. But even though we have this observational part, 95% of our entire life is still controlled by our compulsions. Okay, you know what? Give me this. Okay, so you see this? You see this ball right here? This ball of you is your self-image, okay? This is what we're gonna use it to represent. And it's filled with all the experiences that make up what you believe your self-image to be true. And in this ball of experience makes up the compulsions that drive you to the very conclusions that rhyme with this bundle that is you. All the way down to what career path you're gonna end up picking and who you decide to marry. Now, this self-image can be accurate or not. It doesn't matter. What matters is how we observe our character and worthiness of certain things. All the decisions that you're gonna make and have made happen because of this ball right here. Starting from now to your inevitable death, how you react to new opportunities and how your decisions are made is a reflection of this ball of you. What I mean by this is this ball of you is in constant motion. It's gonna come across opportunities and decisions that are going to be made. And because of all these things inside this ball that make up your self-image, every time you reach a decision or opportunity, you're gonna ricochet off of it in the same way that you always would have, whether that's gonna be positive or negative. This is extremely evident, and you can see it a lot in the investing and business space and pretty much any area of life. And it's why 99% of people buy when the price is way too overpriced out of compulsion, and freak out when the price dips also out of compulsion. They can't control how they react to that situation because of all the experiences that made up them, that led them to believe that this outcome is bad. Still bearing with me? This is why people quit their entrepreneurial pursuits so early, or can't seem to pass a certain level of income. Those same people often say that the people that got in early to investments or found success in their field got lucky. And you know what? Those people did get lucky, only because of their acceptance and view of their own world. Okay, so I know you're probably thinking at this point, you're gonna have to become some sort of mental martial artist to become or get to where you want to be. That's not true, and here's why. There's lots of people who are still incredibly flawed and pretty solid positions. And because they're in those positions, people automatically think that they're not flawed and view them in sort of a glamorous sort of light. And then the logic follows inside your own head that you yourself can't reach that point because you're not perfect. But you totally can. You don't need to be perfect to get to where you want to go. I bet Gandhi has even done some questionable things. Like, these people are humans too. They just view certain parts of the world differently than most. Until you find a way to change how you view what consists of your world and identify what compulsions and narratives you have, you are destined to repeat the same cause and effect over and over again. Enter self-awareness. The purpose our self-awareness has is that we can observe the compulsions that we have. The problem that arises is that we think our self-awareness is our free will. We have ourselves convinced that we're fully in control of our decision. Listen, we don't have free will. Or in other words, will isn't free. As we go forward with these videos, you're gonna learn that there's a cost to gaining will. And the only payment it accepts is acknowledging and overcoming your current fate. We can only observe how we act. But beyond that, we don't have free will to not act in line with our attitudes and perspective. If you feel shitty, you're gonna act shitty. If you feel pure, you're gonna act pure. Sure, on a daily basis, we can mask how we feel, and we do it all the time. But our view of ourselves and the world always slips south in moments of intense emotion. That's why actively forcing yourself to change never works, and why change only happens by perspective. Okay, so this literally goes down to the quantum level, I shit you not. My friend who's an electrical engineer told me about this phenomenon that's central to the whole idea of quantum physics itself, and it's called the double slit test. Now, I don't know much about quantum mechanics. You should ask him if anything, so I'm gonna do my best to explain what this is. But what this double split test is that, like, you have a slit of, you have this sheet of something, and then, holy shit, no, this is so hard to explain. Okay, so you have this sheet of something, it looks something like this, okay? And then light goes through these slits from one side. The outcome of the light on the other side is changed based on how it's observed. Anyways, we're not gonna get into that because it confused me. Just understand the power of perspective, okay? I mean, think about that time you were clearly in a terrible mood and someone told you to just cheer up. How many times did just thinking to cheer up has worked on you? Now, what about when someone comes across and acknowledges your terrible mood and shows you a different perspective on it? Like, let's say you're bummed out because of a breakup. Because of what consists of this ball of you have some trouble accepting that this person probably just wasn't the right fit for you, and you still continue to view them in rose-colored glasses. You also have some trouble finding the parts where you may have went wrong too. You're thinking to yourself,
"Man, I will never find someone like that again."
But then all of a sudden your friend comes along and he introduces you to another perspective. He's like,
"Dude, think about it. You're never gonna have to find someone like that ever again."
And then you're like, wait, you're right. You laugh, they laugh, and suddenly you're able to look at the whole relationship in a whole different light. You are determined to find someone better and also be someone better. But 2 years later, you end up in the same type of relationship with a different person after you forgot the lesson that you just learned. True story, it's exactly how I kept ending up in the same type of relationships over and over again. But for a small window, my mood on these unchangeable circumstances that occurred had changed. And I was able to briefly act in a better way and receive slightly better results just because of a shift in my perception. Keep that in mind as we go on. So even though I learned my lessons from my mistakes, why did I still eventually continue to make? Because at the time, I didn't go deep enough to address the bundle that was me. Instead, I was still playing the blame game. I did not take full responsibility for these compulsions that drove me to make the same mistake again. Instead, I would just be like, oh, I'll just do this next time. If you only apply a fix to the surface, the things deep inside you will outpower the band-aid fix you put on the solution. This bundle of compulsions that was me kept driving me to make the same decisions, leaving me to my inevitable demise. Nobody likes to believe that they are operating under some compulsion beyond their control. It is way too disturbing of a thought. We think that we're really smart just because we listen to our logic, not realizing our logic is 100% influenced by our thoughts, feelings, and these compulsions. You have certain compulsions whether you're aware of them or not. Just like how when you buy something, you buy it from emotion and then justify it with logic. What's something stupid I bought? Oh, I must have something stupid. I explain how logic is pretty much subjective in this video and why it is over here. Alex Becker put it perfectly when he said you are literally a bundle of experiences, emotions, judgments, and views. And because of all these things, you are a ball of momentum heading towards a decision. And the conclusion of this decision has already been decided because of all the things that make up your self-image. Now, if you've watched my other videos and you're thinking to yourself,
"But you said you can create your own reality by experiencing what it'll be like living in that experience if I decide on becoming the person I need to become. Isn't that creating reality an act of free will?
Okay, you knew exactly what I meant by create your own reality, but you know what? I'll humor you. Our reality is shaped by our own individual lens on how we view the world. That is your perception. As Carl Jung said, attitude is the readiness of a psyche to act or react in a certain way. Let's take another example. We'll say it's 1997, the year of my birth. I'm some adorable little baby. And for the sake of this example, for some reason, I'm a talking baby, okay? And because I can talk, I figured out how to meet people. I found some friends inside the hospital and I might know a thing or two. And through this, I caught wind of some insider info on this new stock called Amazon. So naturally, being the excited infant that I am, what I do is I share this with a few people. First, I tell a person with a pessimistic perspective this news, and they fire back with,
"Oh, that's a dumb idea. There's no way Amazon's gonna go to the top. That's just stupid."
but then the second person I tell is a little bit more optimistic. They decide it might be worth their time to do their own research on the company and see if it's worth its salt. They end up enjoying what they see, so they decide to throw a few $100 into Amazon. Then they get another idea. Oh my god, a talking baby. And he decides to make a whole talk show of this baby who can make stock picks. It's 2021 now. Who do you think is better off? The pessimistic person I told or the optimistic person I told about the stock? How many of you guys even saw the opportunity of monetizing a talking baby there? Basically, we can't create permanent change in our behavior without first changing our attitude and perspectives. If we had free will, we would be able to create long-lasting change in our behavior without the need to change our attitudes and perspectives. But we can't. And that's why self-sabotage exists. Retrace your steps and consider how long it took before a pessimistic attitude towards something when you're trying to make a change lands you back to the behaviors you started with in the first place. Until time travel is discovered, you can't change your experiences, traumas, and childhood. You know all the good stuff that makes up this bundle. What you can change is your perspectives on the bundle of compulsions that you have. And you can't do that until you acknowledge the really icky parts of this bundle you have. Don't do what I did and only acknowledge the surface things. And don't bullshit me and tell me you don't have any compulsions just because you're not addicted to crack or meth or something. It's easy to see others, especially those closest to us, fall for the wrong person or push away the right person. We cringe at their behavior or foolish investment, only to repeat these mistakes as soon as they have forgotten the lessons that they learned. We see these patterns and they don't, when they are as blind to their own compulsions as you are to yours. No matter how self-aware you are, unless you are where you want to be right now in this moment, there is something you're missing beyond your perception. And that something that is missing is the lens that you decide to view the world. There's a visible pattern in your life you can see through your failures and mistakes. Before we can even begin to learn how to control what little will we have through the power of self-awareness, you need to go way beyond your quirky little habits like scrolling through Snapchat or whatever. You're gonna have to get your hands real dirty if you're gonna destroy this bundle of compulsions that you have and find a way to shift this momentum in a different direction. I'm talking about looking at the stuff that's gonna make you shudder. This stuff's so icky you literally cower at the thought of even facing it. I have a list of things that we're gonna look at in the last video of the series, but before we get there, you need to understand what I'm saying in these first two videos first. I also encourage you to do your own unbiased research on human nature and what is actually driving you to make these decisions. Because I'm only one man here. You need an army to tame your unconscious biases. Your life is guided by a series of decisions and you are exactly where you are supposed to be because of the person that you were when those decisions and opportunities came across your path. And you were then put in a position on how you're gonna react next to these decisions and opportunities that you had to face. Now, where this becomes a problem is when you can't acknowledge and accept this uncontrollable force that is your unconscious. Some people call this force God, Allah, or Wahiguru. But whatever you call this force, the 5% of control you have is no match for it. Will drive you into madness. You resort to becoming controlling, rigid in your thinking, projecting insecurities on other people, and unadaptable. You might even find yourself repressing this ball of you that makes up your self-image. And then all of a sudden, bam, it comes back bigger and badder than ever. Just as if all the things that was pushed down was sent to prison and it spent its entire sentence working out and selling cigarettes. Its first taste of freedom comes around after years of being repressed and locked up. Conjugal visits were prohibited. It walks out of jail jacked out of its mind, angrier and stronger than ever, with a vengeance that you had never seen before. Still, you lock it away and the cycle repeats itself until the end of time. It keeps getting stronger, and you are now destined to do this dance with it forever. Which is why when you reach certain milestones financially or physically, you still carry with you the insecurities that you had at the beginning of your journey. You know that scene from the Dark Knight with Batman and the Joker? After Batman pushes him off the roof? You know what, I'll just show you. I'll show you.
It's a funny world we live in. Speaking of which, you know how I got these scars?
No, but I know how you got these.
You just couldn't let me go, could you? This is what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object. You truly are incorruptible, aren't you? Huh? You won't kill me out of some misplaced sense of self-righteousness. And I won't kill you because you're just too much fun. I think you and I are destined to do this forever.
You'll be in a better jail forever.
Maybe we could share one. You know, they'll be doubling up the rate this city's inhabitants are losing their minds.
This city just showed you that it's full of people ready to believe in good.
Until their spirit breaks completely. Until they get a good look at the real Harvey Dent. Huh? And all the heroic things he's done. You didn't think I'd risk losing the battle for Gotham's soul in a fistfight with you. You need an ace in the hole. Mine's Harvey.
What did you do?
I took Gotham's White Knight and I brought him down to our level. It wasn't hard. See, madness, as you know, is like gravity. All it takes is a little push.
This denial of your own nature is called a superiority bias. In psychology, it means you have the belief that you are fully rational, more ethical, and different than others. You're blind to any and all flaws to yourself. And just like Batman, you continuously still keep repeating the same patterns that keep you in that same place and stop you from breaking what seemed to be a snag in your life. You're faced with only one option, and that is to destroy this part of yourself. But for some reason, you can't. There's a silver lining to this, because maybe you've started to realize that maybe your self-awareness is just directed in the wrong direction. You stop looking at what's wrong with other people, situations, and things, and start looking more within yourself. We all have a variety of different reasons why we have these compulsions, but we can start to tackle them by addressing that they're there. And that's why in my intro I say solutions that work for me and might work for you, because some of these actually probably won't work for you. My goal here is to share with you my solutions to inspire you to find your own. I don't just say to be quirky. I legitimately was not able to make a single dollar building income streams online until I address these really icky parts deep within myself. It may seem as if it has nothing to do with business, but it has everything to do with it. And I still have so much to uncover too. Like there's so many layers of bullshit. Like, well then what's next? Because just knowing isn't enough. How do you come to address your biases and come to accept this? Well, I don't want this video to be like 3 hours long, so I'm just gonna make another video soon. I don't mean to cliffhanger you, but that's exactly what I'm gonna do just so I can save some time editing this. In the meantime though, I want you to really think about what you tuck away deep within inside of you. The things that you just hide from the world. And we're gonna try and close that gap between what you show to the world and what you hide to the world. And no matter how terrible and terrifying they might be, there is always a way to express gratitude on those things that we'll talk about in the next video. I'm gonna share with you a story of somebody who has done that, who had a terrible life at the start. So thanks for sticking around. Make sure you join my mailing list in the first link in the description below. Leave a like on this video so it gets pushed out to more people for 2 reasons: so you have more people to talk to in the comment section, and to also give a lot more people existential crises.